Hey there. All right, guys. Sam back with you here on Thursday, August 23rd. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're doing traditional assets. At least that's been our schedule of late. So we polled the members. We let them choose what they'd like to see analyzed. And in addition to the TQQ, which we just did, the request was for the euro. So I've got the euro up here on the daily chart. And just we've looked at this a few times here, but just to get a quick review on it here. So we had this absolutely beautiful Elliott count that came off of this the 2017 lows here. So it was beautifully technical here. So we take the length of the third, the 4 comes down here, gets the Vegas wave, a little shy of the 38, but we of course algos get target, right? So we get up here right on there. So they've got this. Now it was a little bit disappointing here in this fifth, because the way it played, it looked like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and there was going to be a push for more in that fifth of the fifth, but it just didn't get it. And then you wonder, wonder why it stops there, right? So that to get that, I remember there's always an algo working on the other side. So if we take from this last pivot up here, or swing here to all the way down to the swing low. Remember, an algo doesn't care about the Elliott counts, just using swing high to swing low. Well, we run right into the 618. Right? So you can see what happens there. So if you're wondering, pull back, look at it, get a handle on where you are in the larger degree, and did you bump into any obvious resistance? So that clearly is what they ran into there. So this reaction coming off of that has been pretty substantial. Now you look at it and you think, oh, okay, well, wait a minute. I just completed a nice big fat 5-wave structure. That would imply, coming off of these lows, that's potentially just a 1-wave. So if I do the same thing I would do with any 5-wave structure, whether I was looking at a daily chart or a 1-minute chart, we'll pull up from the swing high to the swing low. Well, you can see what we've done. We've already gotten to and through the 50. We know the prime spot, our sweet spot for a 2 is between the 50 and the 618. That's where we want to look for it. So, when we get here, I think there's one more push down here. Yeah, so I think this is still yet to be realized here. Now, we know of a 2-wave, it can go anywhere from the 50 to 786, can go deeper than that, but this is really the high probability zone. So when we dig into this count a little bit more on lower time frames, I think you'll see why it certainly appears to me like we have one more push down. So I would not be surprised at all to see us push down here, golden zone, and then we get the big move up. Now that's potentially a rather substantial move on the assumption here that this is a 1-wave. So we go 1, 2, right? So if the euro is going up that far, it tells you what's happening to the dollar. So again, let the chart dictate your thought process there, because trying to outthink the market in terms of what it's going to do fundamentally, I have found to be a fool's errand. So my suggestion was let price dictate where the opportunities are. Price is truth, as like, and truth is truth, right? Despite some commentary to suggest otherwise. Truth is truth and price is truth. So let price dictate your decision making. Now, if we come here, we move from the daily. Let's go down. Let's go down to the 3-hour. See if we can get it there. All right, so here's that 3-wave, 3, 4, and then we do get the nice subdivision here. So coming off of that 4, right, that I showed you, it was in between the 23.6 and the 38, right where you'd like to see it. We have good subdivision here, so we get a good clean A, B. We finish with a diet. Do we get a diet? No, we finish with an impulse into that C wave. Gives us our 4, and then we come off of this, we get a 1, 2. Then here's the subdivision. So then from that, we get 1, 2, 3. Here's typical 4 action. Then we go up for the 5 of the third, A, B, C down into the 4, and then we finish here. So it's essentially a double top. So that was the disappointment. I remember trading this, that from this pivot here, this is just a perfect lineup, and you would have thought at least we'd get algo target up here, but it just doesn't get it, right? Remember, we ran into the 618 from the competing algorithm, and in this case, bears took it. So that coming down from that, then we just got to start breaking it down. Say, okay, well, okay, if this is going to be our pivot, what's happened since we've had that reaction, and can we organize it and get an Elliott count here that would make sense? So if this pivot is our 1-wave, well, then we're looking for some sort of 3-wave counter trend to correct it. Remember, we're looking for a second down here. Now this we'll see down here. So, but coming off of this pivot up here, well, we get a pretty good rip down for a one wave. Then I get a little complexity here. It looks like I can go A, B, C into my 2 here in blue. Well, from that, if that's a good 2, right, and we know that that's, yeah, it looks like it went fairly steep here. We got 786, right? That's right where you'll often see it's always a push to get to the old high. Fails and it rolls over. So if this is a good 2, well, then I need to have an impulsive structure coming down for my 3rd. Well, from that I can go 1, A, B, C into my 2. I come down 3, 4, finish with the 5. So I have perfect subdivision into my 3rd relative to this 1, 2. And I think we go beyond. If we take the one wave here and we measure for our 2. Now, interestingly, we get this pivot right here at the high probability zone for a 3rd, but I think we're just hitting the 3rd within the subdivision here of the 3rd. So we get down here, we're sort of in between the 200. We don't quite make the 2618, but the subdivision plays quite nicely. And as I recall, this was from the 2 to the 3. We had a shallow retracement here for the 4, although that's not uncommon from the 23 to 38. That's right where you're looking for it. And we come little reaction at the first target. We kind of in no man's land, which make you think low's not in. Thus, this is not a surprise. So coming now from the pivot here, so we go. Now remember, we're going back to the higher degree 2 here. So we come a little shy of the 38. Down we go. It looks like I'm in the process of finishing the 5th. So this gets my attention here. So is this a front run for an algo on the 38? Possibly. So we're just trying to play this out. We got to look and say, okay, if that's 3, well, then I go A, B, C into a candidate here for a 4. Well, coming off of that, I rip down pretty hard into what looks like a good 1 wave. A, B, C into my 2. So yet again, looks like I go 786, maybe a little bit beyond that. All right, so, well, 786, again, we get a hair past it. Then we've got our 2 wave here. So prime candidate for a 2. That's right, A, B, C into that structure. Then from that, it looks like now at this point here, coming here now. Oh, well, let me just make this point here. So here's our wave 1. So wicking off the wave 1, clearly we can see now we're in a diagonal. So we're in the 5th wave where we can accommodate a diagonal. So an ending diagonal, not uncommon at all. As we're completing a structure here. So we have more volatility as we get this battle for trend. So as we come down here, it looks like I go 1, A, B, C into my 2. Now that I'm in a diagonal structure, I'm looking for 3 waves. So I go A, B, C into my A, B, C into my B here. Now A, B, C into my 3rd here in white. I guess I can take that up a degree so we don't lose track of it. Let's go up to micro. All right, so we go 1, 1, 2. A, B, C into my 3, candidate for my 3. Now, remember for the 4th, when we're in a diagonal, we're looking for a fib relationship between the start of the 1 and the pivot of the 3rd down here. So just grabbing our fib tool, assuming we've got this right, if that's the 4 and this is the 3, we're looking for something here that's technical. So, it's not to the tick, but the 618 holds it. We get through the 50, but they defend here, as they will. They defend that. Now, it looks like we've got a reasonable candidate down here, so the algo target can't be ignored. We can look at that down here and say, well, would that make sense? So I'd be finishing, so in this larger degree, I'd be finishing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It looks just like how you might draw up what a diagonal would look like. All right, we've got all the 3-wave subdivision that we'd look for. This probably A, B, C, then A, B, C, then A, B, C. This, we go down to 1 hour, see if we can carve that out a little bit better. So it looks like you might have A, B, C into this 4, if that's going to hold, right? It's not guaranteed. We don't know for sure that that's our pivot for a 4, but it certainly looks that way. And we've had a reaction. We've had a move off of it, so that's a reasonable candidate here for this diagonal to finish, right? So we have this nice technical trade. So, additionally, we could work with a channel on this. All right, getting some idea. Do we have some geometry that would fit? So that possibly plays. Oops, let's get this back over here. Get our 2 set up. So that's not unreasonable here. So this would not surprise me. So if this were going to come down here, if we're going to get symmetry here, we get our channel low here. potentially now. So so that would complete us. So let's put this back together. I guess let's try and go. I guess I'll have to go to a 3 hour. All right, so let's try and reconstruct the whole thing. Well, if we're going to finish down here, right, so this is our completed 5-wave structure. Now we have the potential for this completed structure down here. But take note of what that would mean. If we come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to pivot down here, we're coming off of a 5 and we're finishing with a 5, right? So we can't do that. So that would imply that we would likely be just putting in the A wave. So from this would be A, B, C. Now let's kind of silly there. Let's get that degree up to where we can see it. We can go. Let's go minuet. Okay, so let's think about that. So if we were going to put this A wave in here, right? So we've got 5 coming down. That's potentially now our A wave. Well, we're looking for a B wave from the swing low. All right, again, I'm hypothetical here. I don't know that I pivot there. But if I were going to come in for a B wave here, well, that's not an unreasonable spot to be looking here. Note the this big gap over here of a low volume here where we don't have market acceptance. It looks all good right here. We're good into the 50. Now, of course, certainly we could pivot at the 50. As we know, an algo will start selling there. Again, I'm hypothetical here. I do not know that that's going to be the 50 because I do not know where my pivot is down here. This is all just hypothetical in terms of where we might be looking for it. So because of this low volume node here, I kind of lean into it back here. I'd like to see, of course, it's all a function of what this price action looks like. So again, if we pivot here, we'd be looking for a fairly complex ABC to then bring us down here for that. All right, so that's kind of what is setting up here. Now let's go all the way back out to the daily and think about putting that all back together. How would that look? Well, let's open it up again. Let's see. Maybe I can do it. Maybe get a little more clarity if we go to an 8 hour. Okay, that should work. Okay, so now let's try and put the whole thing back together. Again, I don't know where this goes. This is all just me, just free drawing. So if we think about it, okay, if this is a completed 1 wave and we're up here, right? So note what happens here. So isn't this interesting? So again, just working backwards. I didn't do this in advance to dial that in here so I could amaze you with that. It's just swing low, swing high, and just working through that. Well, is that coincidental? Right? I mean, so all that. So do you see what you can't even see it actually? Do you see that the algo target? It's right. Well, I see. I got to move a couple things for you to see that. Do you see this green line here? That's the algo target. So if we were to here, I can take that off. Okay. So you see what I have? So potentially now, if I go back to swing low to swing high. All right, do you see this here? So I get pretty significant confluence down here. So I've got my 618 and my algo target right on, essentially on top of each other. So, so one thought is you look at it and say, well, do I have this wrong? Could this be an ABC of some degree and that I've got it wrong and maybe my A is here, B is here? I don't think so. I think this subdivision down here all works quite well. It's all very technical coming down. We've got all the subdivision that we need along the way. I think all we're doing is probing for an A wave. Then we look up for the B and then where the C is, well, who knows, right? We could be down that low. Could be that low. There's the 786. Again, we have no way of knowing here. A lot of it is going to be a function of what kind of price action do we see coming down. So again, I do not know that we get this. But if we had something like this, what are we looking for? We want it to finish in 5. Right? So if we were to come down there that low and we got something like that, wouldn't that be just absolutely perfect? Because what is that setting up? That would be the 2 wave of the monster. Right now then, putting it all back together, let's go back out to let's go daily. All right, so we look at it here. Now you think, okay, so on the larger degree, all right, so let's take this down a degree. All right, so let's go down to, let's go to that. So what that would mean on the larger degree, we'd be pulling off of this low. We'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's all got to, let's go up to, we'll go intermediate, and we'll go to green. All right, so that would potentially set us up for 1, 2 going in. Again, I don't know where this is. It's all a function of what happens here. Do we get that? I do not know. I can just tell you, though, that that's playing out rather nicely as a potential roadmap here. So this third, well, here's algo target, right? So the third's going to be much higher. If we got something like that, well, you know, so you keep something like this around. So what I often will suggest to students, just keep that somewhere, right? You got plenty, no issue with trying to save charts here. So just save that and then watch and see how it plays. How are you adjusting this based on what happens, right? How close are you to? It's always a good idea to get kind of a forecast, right? You can think of it. You know, it's almost like forecasting the weather. Well, you don't know. It looks to me like it might have some, you know, sunny skies, right? We'll see. And then, oh, do we go into a hurricane? And then are we back to sunny again? I don't know if that metaphor works, but it's kind of the idea. It's a good idea to have. It's kind of a roadmap here to see how it plays. How close do you get? So from here, I can tell you when we did this pivot and we had that failed fifth, my roadmap broke down because I had us going higher for that one wave. Right, so it breaks down, and you come back and say, huh, interesting. Okay, let's reassemble and see what exactly happened. Well, we then, upon a closer look, you see, oh, we bumped into the 618. That's the resistance. Now we roll over. Well, so far it looks like we're just coming down in 5. So unless the entire count is wrong, you know, again, this 5 is so dominant and so clearly formed, it's very hard to think of that as anything other than a one wave. It's certainly a solid impulse. So what can it be? Well, it's either a one wave or an A wave. So I suppose you could make the case that this is all just A. Now we're in the process of putting in some sort of B, and then we're going up for C. You know, again, you don't know until ultimately the market reveals itself. But right now, if we were to see something like this play, I think the idea of a sell here. So again, as I showed you, we were right at the 618. The idea of a buy here is solid, right? In this, so we're on a daily chart here. So buying into the combination, the confluence of an algo target at the golden zone, that's very buyable. We say, well, wait a minute, I thought we were going into a B wave. Well, plenty of opportunity there. Even if you're just going up to that 786 and we had a stop under the 6.5, there's 7.69 to 1. Nothing wrong with that. And you're setting yourself up to get it going up and then coming down and then going up again. So that's why you put that map together. So, hey, I've got a possibility here to catch the ride into the B, then catch the short into the C, and then turn it around and get the buy into the 3. You want to see your year made? It just takes one of these to play. And you make your whole year. That's why I often tell you, the best traders that I know of, typically they make the vast majority of their money from 20% of their trades. The rest of it, you're just dealing with, you stopped out here, new trade here, we got a little winner there. It's just, at the end of the day, it's the big things, the big ones that you let run, that you weren't so quick to take profit because, oh my God, I gotta have profit. That's our natural tendency, especially if you've had a few losers. You're so anxious to realize a profit, to do a little repair of your account, but you miss the big picture, right? So a buy here is something that you want to try and hold. A buy here is not something that you want to try and hold because it doesn't fit with your roadmap. You're just trying to play into the B wave. Right? So, you know, if you were in that and you saw this start to reshape and it looked like you went 1, 2, 3 and you're thinking B, but then you got to push up into a 5, well, something's wrong because you can't have a 5 there. So you got to rethink this and think, oh, wait a minute, maybe I have this wrong. Maybe this is, boy, I don't know how you dig it out of there, but maybe there is an A, B, C in here and the low is in and now I've got an impulse, so I got to rethink my whole count. But until you see that, there's no reason to assume it would fail until it does. You trade it until it fails. Right? Then you take your stop, reevaluate, reassess, and go, it's part of trading. All right, what was the damage like? Did I follow my plan? Was my money management rule followed? How much impact do I take on that loser? That's what you see when I'm showing you trades that I'm in. My stops are very close. I would much rather take the stop, reevaluate, and look at going back in. So maybe I get stopped out here, all right? And then after that, so we get below the 618. Well, it's certainly nothing says that it must stop there. Now we're going to have some algo issues that we're going to have to deal with, as I've shown you many times, as they'll flip there. But it doesn't mean you still can't work around them. So if you were stopped out here, so maybe this comes a little bit lower, and then we get, let's see if I can do it. We get this this were to come down, we got a little bit lower, so you're stopped out here. You tried to buy into the A wave of the B wave, so you get stopped out. Well, now we go up and you're like, ah, damn it, I knew it, I knew that. Well, now, first retracement, well, then you've got the next opportunity. Right now, the numbers aren't going to be as good. And again, we don't know where that B stops, but you can be a buy here. Now you've got 5.76 to 1. So you can still catch that move even though you took a stop on the first one. Don't shy away from the second one is my point. It's just you calculate the risk exactly as you would in any trade. What's the impact to my account if I get stopped out? Can I afford it? What's the size that I can afford to trade? If I'm looking to hold this for 1 week, 2 weeks, remember I'm on a daily chart, could be a month. Can I hold it for that long? Can I sit with it? Can I keep my hand off my mouse and just let it realize and go to target? Right? Because of course in here, if this is an ABC, let me pull this off, there'll be an algo play. All right, so let me see if I can create that for you. Coming here, all right, so this, let's get all of that done. So this, potentially an algo play into the C of the B. All right, so you just, if you work from here, then we go, oh, I've been doing this for too long. So you come right to golden zone. Well, why would you not take that trade? You've just got a push higher, or well, if it's going to be an A wave, you've got some sort of a motive. Here's a retrace right to golden zone. Why would you not take that trade? You don't know where that's going to pivot, but you can get into that and say, well, here's the algo target, here's second target. So maybe we go second target. Well, what would that mean in the bigger picture if we went down that low? Well, we're just going to golden zone. Right now, that's a reasonable target. So maybe you take a partial at the first. Excuse me, at the first target, which happens to be on top right next to the 50. So maybe you take a partial here, book some profit, let a portion of your trade run towards the golden zone, get out of the whole thing. Me, I'm reversing there. Right? If I get a reaction, we start to move away from it because now I'm looking for this. Again, guys, it's we're right here. So stop can be, we can be on the other side of that. What am I looking for? Right, that's 12 to 1. Again, why would you not take that trade? Right? So you took a stop here, you got a winner here. Why would you took profit here, so you've got a nice winner, so you're clearly in the black here. You got an opportunity to retrace this as you come. It's following your roadmap. Again, why would you not take that trade? If it comes down here, well, now you took one loser here, got a nice winner here, caught this, 12 to 1. Beautiful. You come down here for your target for a 2. Again, why would you not take that trade? It's following your roadmap just perfectly. Right now, I don't know. We don't know. No one knows if it's going to do that. But if it were, right, have you had a good year? I mean, maybe you can afford to give that a little more room there. What are we getting? There's 20 to 1. How many 20 to 1s do you need? Right? So what's the challenge in trying to hold that for 20 to 1? Is going through all the gyrations along the way. That's what makes that so difficult. And why very few people can do it. They can't hold that long. That's why algorithms were written in the first place, so we could get the human emotion out of it. So you just say, algorithm does not care. Buy it here, it's just going to stay long. If it has to stay long for 3 years, doesn't care. You and I were going, oh shit, man, double top, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I got to take some profit. We can't keep our hands off the mouse. That's the hardest thing to do. Well, you've heard it, you probably read it in Trading 101. What's the hardest thing to do? Let profits run. What's equally as difficult? Cut your loser short. It's just human nature, which is what creates all of these swings. That's all the Elliott Wave is. Fear and greed, fear and greed, fear and greed. So it starts going up, greed's kicking in. Well, now fear's kicking in. Oh, God, I don't want to give that back. I don't want to give it back. So I'll just take some profit here. And then it runs up and you get an actual third wave and you look at it and go, if I had just let 25% of that trade run, it would have changed my results for the entire year. Easier said than done. I do understand that. All right, guys, with that, I'll wrap it. That's probably good for the day. Well, lots to consider here. I would very much keep an eye on the euro. Again, for all you crypto guys, do you really care? Do you really care what the underlying is? Right? What's your purpose for trading? Is it part of your trading plan that you're only going to invest in cryptocurrency? If that's part of your, well, that's your prerogative, of course, but I would encourage you, if what you're looking for is to make money, what do you care what the underlying is? Right? Is it technical? Is there volatility? Is it liquid? What are the trading costs? What are the spreads? Nothing easier than FX if you're using that criterion. And you can trade in partial lot size. You can micro or minis, where you don't have to trade a full. Right? So you think, oh man, I don't know if I have, can I hold the margin for that long? Well, if you're in a 3-lot in the futures market, maybe not. But if you're in a mini in FX, no problem. All right, guys, I'll wrap it there, and we'll be back to you tomorrow.